every. I had the music up a little bit too loud.
What?
What? I'm sorry. I was sidetracked over here for multiple reasons. We were discussing weird and off-the-wall things. But anyway, welcome to the award-winning In Real Time Car Show, your go-to all things automotive place, along with Mike Mars, Konrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin over there. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. And Will Coleman. Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It does? Good. Because he is our guest today. And
he's been on before.
Yep. And so he is with Alto Partners, and he's here today to talk about car share.
Rideshare.
I've got music in my ear.
How about now?
I've got voices in my head.
Yeah, no kidding.
I like that music.
I do too.
Thank you. At any rate, so Will, it's good to talk to you. I know that we'd had some sort of an issue with actually seeing you, so you're going to be on the phone today, I understand. But
he's in the witness protection program.
Is that what it is, Will? Is that what it is, really?
Hello, Will. Will, you there?
Oh, sorry. Now you should be there, Will. Go ahead. Huh?
Hello, Will.
He's talking. I can't.
Well, we can't. Come on, Don. Turn him on.
Can we hear you now, Will?
I can hear you guys.
Oh, there we go. Good. Now we got you.
That was the 10-second delay, kind of like the witness protection.
Protection.
The witness protection program.
You're keeping me on the 10-second delay. I promise no profanity this morning.
Oh, well actually,
that's okay.
That's required on this show, so never mind any of that. So, Alto, tell me about Alto. Tell me first of all, what do you do?
Yeah, Don, I'm the founder and CEO, so I do a little bit of everything. Some days, I'm doing radio shows, and other days I'm the head janitor. But
I was going to ask, do you have the vacuum cleaner?
I got a vacuum cleaner for Christmas.
Great, perfect.
If you really want to know.
Great to know. Where are you located physically?
I'm in Dallas this morning, and our headquarters is here in Dallas. At Alto, you might be asking about Alto more than me personally, but at Alto, what we do is we do rideshare, elevated. Alto means elevated, and we are elevating the experience in rideshare for both passengers and drivers. As we talked about last time, we're really excited to be down in Houston now. We founded the company here in Dallas and operated here for a couple of years, and we're excited to get to Houston when we launch back in October.
Well, I sure am glad, just to go a little bit off track here, I did want to congratulate you on at least having a football team up there. And it looks like most of us down here are going to be becoming Dallas Cowboy fans if we're not already.
Well, who knows? Deshaun Watson may go to Dallas.
There you go.
Yeah,
he wants to go somewhere.
It's not clear that either of our football teams has a quarterback that we can count on. So, we've got, I think.
Well, ours is looking.
We can commiserate in that misery.
Yeah, so ours is looking. So tell Jerry, give him a little elbow, on the shoulder, and say, "Hey, Jerry, guess what? They got a actual quarterback down there in Houston is looking for a place, and he could still live in Houston and practice up there."
Yeah, he can commute.
But back to the topic here, Alto Ride Share.
No, I'd rather talk about football.
No,
right now.
you don't. You don't even watch football.
Badminton.
Alto Ride Share is an elevated ride share.
What does that mean?
It's a little bit nicer than the Ubers.
Let Will explain it.
Tell us about it, Will.
Yeah. I mean, elevated to us really means three things. It's all about safety, consistency, and quality. And so we're really focused on doing things a bit differently in order to ensure that every single ride is safe, high quality, and that consistent experience shines through for our customers every single time. To do that, we operate differently than our competitors. We have W-2 employee drivers, not independent contractors like most transportation companies. And we have a dedicated fleet of vehicles. That means like an airline or a hotel, we're responsible for that asset. We clean and disinfect it daily. We can keep it safe and well maintained so that every single time you hail an Alto via our app, you know exactly what you're going to get. You know the experience you can expect. and you know that you're getting into a car that is clean and safe, which we think is even more important now than when we founded the company, and something that consumers are really looking for as they try to get back on the road, get moving again. We know that movement is critical to our society and to rebuilding our economy, and so we want to be there to help people do that in the safest way possible. So
you said that you own the asset. So these are vehicles that are owned by Alto, not like some of the other ride shares that are out there that, whoever it is driving, it's their personal vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. We actually think that there's a huge opportunity to build the capabilities required for an eventual autonomous transition. We think that transition is still 10 to 15 years away in our industry. And so drivers are a core part of our offering, and we think will be for a really long time. But owning the asset and building the operational capability to run a fleet of vehicles, hundreds of thousands of cars across the U.S. and around the world, we think is a really different set of capabilities than what exists today when each individual driver brings their own vehicle to the platform. And so we think that what we're doing obviously creates a great customer experience today, but also allows us to build those capabilities for the future so that we will be the eventual winner in that autonomous robo-taxi world. And we know that that's going to be really, really valuable when it does happen. And so we're starting now because there's a lot to build.
Financially, are you competitive with, say, Lyft and Uber?
We're half the cost of their premium products. So we think that we are a better experience than even what you can get in the Uber and Lyft premium levels with half the price. That does still make us a bit more expensive than the absolute cheapest option on the road. But our customers typically are willing to pay those few extra dollars in order to, get that consistent experience. We see it a lot like a Starbucks coffee. You can get a coffee a lot cheaper at a gas station or somewhere else, but people go to Starbucks because they know exactly what it's going to taste like, what it's going to smell like, and that they're going to make it exactly the way you want it. And that's at any Starbucks, in any city all over the world. And we think that consistency, that branded standard is worth it, and that our customers really value that.
And you have some control in that consistency by owning the fleet, as opposed to the two big name competitors that are in the market. You never really know what's going to show up. And actually, I've used them in the past, and what shows up isn't what's on my phone, and the guy shows up in something else, and it's like, oh, my other car is broke down, and I'm borrowing my daughter's car or something like that. I'm like, oh, well, do they know that? I don't think you're supposed to do this. But I took the ride anyhow.
Well, I've been in Detroit.
We call that Rideshare Roulette, and yeah, it's a real problem. I mean, in particular, it's a safety issue, right? You don't really know in those cases, if that car is registered, if it's been inspected, if it's safe, if that's the right driver, have they been through the background checks? And I think, a lot of people have been in those situations. We talk to women and men all the time that say, yeah, I mean, I sometimes, I find that exact case where the car shows up and it's not exactly what the app says, or I didn't expect. And you know what? I ended up just getting in because I was in a hurry, or it was there. And we don't think that's a great, that's a great trade-off that people should have to make.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
We're trying to fix that problem for sure.
You had coined a phrase a couple of minutes ago, and I'm wondering, and I want credit for this. So if you make money on it, I want a little bit of that money. Or at least advertising on the show for it, is RoboRideshare. Have you trademarked that yet?
No, but maybe we should get after it.
That's a good idea. Either that or own the website address.
I like the roulette comment.
Yeah, I don't know if we want Rideshare Roulette. There's some bad connotations.
Yeah, that may not work so good. Some different places.
RoboRideshare makes sense because the autonomous car, there are parts of the country that autonomous cars are functioning today because they're still in test mode, but they are on the road. You know, there's autonomous cars in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. There's autonomous cars. Yeah. There's autonomous cars driving around San Francisco.
Bernie's in the back seat.
With his mittens.
With his mittens on. So but that's kind of, you're getting into that market, and that's a little bit of your plan. Is that correct? Is to be the leader in the RoboRideshare once it becomes more popular?
Yeah, you can imagine that, you know, the things required, the capabilities, we call them, required to operate in that world are much, much different, right? I mean, our business, we obviously have a major part of it that's customer facing around, you know, actually our apps and our service for our customers, but there's also a really big back end of our operating facilities, our depots, we call them, where we store and maintain and clean and fuel and charge our vehicles. The technology is quite different in terms of how we think about optimization of that fleet and supply and demand management and positioning and repositioning of the cars to ensure that they're properly dispersed within our service area to serve our customers in the best possible way. And all of those things are quite different than in a marketplace model where an Uber or a Lyft doesn't really have any control over supply. They don't want that control. And it leads to different outcomes, not only for us as a business, but for the cities in which we operate. You know, our ability to have that control over supply means that we can make sure not to oversaturate any given area of a city, to reduce congestion, reduce vehicle miles traveled, reduce emissions. And all these things we think are actually really important as an operator as well, things that we can do better and provide better outcomes, not only for our customers, again, but for the entire community in which we operate. And so those are really, you know, the missions of Alto is to elevate the experience for our passengers, for our drivers, and, you know, for the communities where we work.
You will. You've mentioned community several times. So you came to Houston back in October. Alto came down to Houston back in October, and you immediately got involved. I think for the election, you were offering people some rides or some help getting to the polling sites for the election back in the first part of November. And then Thanksgiving, later on in that month, you were doing some things for the community as far as making sure people had some food. You were, if I remember right, you were picking up donations and making some deliveries.
Yeah, we did a huge that's absolutely right. We did a huge canned food drive where we encouraged customers to just put cans out on their porch and made it really easy for them to be able to make donations. We then picked all those up for free and took them to the food bank there in Houston. And we're really, you know, we feel that it's really important to be integrated into the communities that we operate in, and that we have a unique capability by being out on the road and having these assets to really use them in productive ways. You know, there's fluctuations in demand for rideshare. You might expect that, you know, fewer people are moving at 11 a.m. than at 7 a.m. or at 7 p.m. And so this gives us real unique ways in which we can leverage our assets and give back. Actually, we just launched a special car in Houston called our Art Car by an artist there in Houston, Shelbi Nicole. And
we're actually bringing it up.
It's a moving piece of art that we've kind of put onto the streets in Houston to try and bring a little bit of cheer and you know, smiles to anybody that sees it as it's driving by. And we think that it's those sorts of things that allow us to really, you know, be a different, have a different feel in terms of our relationship with the cities, the states, the communities in which we operate. One that we've seen, you know, many of our competitors take a much more, I'll call it, adversarial approach, and we think there's a lot more we can do to be partners.
Yeah, people will see that one coming, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's we've got a picture of it up there. We had a picture up there of the artist Shelbi Nicole, and it's very
artsy,
but it's also very friendly. I mean, it's not like a big black Suburban pulling up in the middle of the night, you know, and you're kind of wondering who's in it. You know, this is very, very inviting, if you will.
Colorful,
yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Shelby is actually a pretty well-known public artist. She's worked in Houston. I think she has a project where she paints murals on some electrical boxes around town to make them kind of stand out and be a little bit more of a
target,
something fun to look at than an eyesore. She's done stuff with Kendra Scott, the NFL as part of the Super Bowl when it was in Houston, and I think a lot of others, and we're really excited to partner with her because it's a great way for us to display our asset, our brand, our car, but also to raise her up and to showcase her art and to make more people aware of what she's doing in the community. And so it's really a win-win partnership, we think, and something we've always been excited about to be able to do in those cities we operate.
So, Will, what's the next step here in the Houston area?
It's all about growth now. We started, I think, as we talked about last time, kind of in a smaller service area with a relatively small fleet of only 25 vehicles. We've grown that fleet, almost doubled it since then, and are adding new cars all the time. We're getting more customers, more businesses, more consumers that are reaching out and excited to partner with us and to take rides. And so we're really leaning into that. We do feel that our differentiation is, again, more important today than it ever has been. I said that before, and I really believe that. I think that what we're able to do to offer people, a way to get around safely in this time. And we think this, unfortunately, that this kind of need for safety and cleanliness is going to last for quite some time, and that we're going to be able to continue to do that. So we're excited to continue to grow within Houston to serve more and more of the greater Houston area. We've got our eyes set, on Katy and the Woodlands, and continuing to expand as we grow the fleet and can grow our driver base.
RideAlto.com.
Yeah, RideAlto.com, or you can find us on the Google Play Store or App Store, searching Ride Alto there as well, and download our app and you sign up. We create an account, and you can join Alto, which allows you to get discounts on all of your rides. So our members receive 30% lower fares than guests, and they have access to our fleet anytime, even in periods of high demand. We give away a free month of membership so people can try it out, and we'd love to have your customers or your listeners be our customers and give us a try. We are always looking to expand the user base, and excited to continue to grow in Houston.
All right. Well, very good. Will, thanks so much for joining us today. It's RideAlto.com, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great Saturday.
You do the same. Okay, time now here on the In Wheel Time Car Show for Konrad's Car Clinic. And I know that you have something over there.
Yeah, well, kind of want to talk a little bit today about owners assume that our vehicles will be reliable, and if we just kind of listen to Will, that's pretty important. We trust that the brakes are going to stop the car every time. And if you think about how a brake system works, you step on the pedal and the car stops. That's what it's supposed to do. There's a whole lot of engineering that goes into that. And, you're trying to stop basically a 4,000 pound vehicle by slamming on the brakes. And that causes all kinds of
upsets,
stresses and upsets on the vehicle. You got to make sure the tires are gripping the ground correctly. You got to make sure that the brakes are stopping the vehicle. And you're talking about basically stopping a charging rhinoceros when you slam on the brakes when you're trying to stop the vehicle. And you want to depend on the fact that that's going to work. At a glance, your brake system doesn't seem too complex. Hit the pedal, the car stops. But the hardest working parts of the system create a lot of heat, and that heat can be detrimental to the vehicle. Considering the great amount of friction it takes to accomplish this, it's no surprise that your brake fluid takes a beating. Brake fluids have additive packages built into them. Some are much better than others, and those additive packages include some pretty pretty powerful players like corrosion inhibitors, anti-wear, and antioxidants. All that may seem kind of complicated sciencey words, but trust me, these additives are crucial to the reliability of your brakes. Every time you use the brake pedal, you increase the heat in the brake system from the friction, and the higher the friction, the higher the heat, and that heat causes the fluid to expand. When the fluid cools and contracts, it draws in a little bit of humidity from the outside air, and that humidity, when you bring it into the system, is really what creates the issue. And the issue is the sponginess of a brake pedal. So we want to make sure you're extracting all that humidity out on a regular basis. One of the ways you can test brake fluid is to check the copper level inside your brake fluid. Your brake lines and your braking system, there's actually quite a bit of copper in it. And as the fluid ages, it leaches copper out of the inside of the system. And you can measure the level of copper with a test strip. It kind of goes from white to purple, and the darker the purple, the more copper that's in it. And when the brake fluid exceeds like 100 parts per million copper, it's time to change the fluid. Some brake fluids out there in the industry actually turn green as they age. They'll turn green, then they'll turn brown, then they'll turn black. And the reason they turn... So does Jeff. Well, think about it. What color does copper turn when it corrodes?
Green.
So you can see that green in the brake fluid as the brake fluid ages. So if you're going, driving a vehicle for a long period of time, you definitely want to service the brake fluid at a regular interval. Depending on who the manufacturer is how often you're going to change the brake fluid. There's some manufacturers that tell you to change the brake fluid every 20,000 miles.
Oh my God!
Every 3 years.
Really?
Every 2. Oh yeah. Nissan and Mercedes are every 20,000 miles. Honda is every 3 years for the first fluid change, and then every 2 years for each fluid change after that. The Europeans tend to be every 2 years. The domestics tend to be every 3 years. So getting all that old contaminated fluid out is very, very important. Fill it with fresh, new fortified fluid for the longevity of your brake system is pretty important, because you got to remember, as it's leaching that copper out of the system, that's how you can measure the corrosiveness of the fluid. So get your brake fluid checked, and if you haven't changed it in 3 years, find your service center and ask them to change your brake fluid.
The brake fluid, that's the pedal on the left, right?
That's the pedal in the middle. Right. If you drive a shifter car.
There you go.
Don drives a shifter car.
A shifty car. Some of the news-making headlines this week. The president, Mr. Biden, on Monday vowed to replace the U.S. government's fleet of roughly 650,000 vehicles with electric models as the new administration shifts its focus towards green energy. Biden criticized existing rules that allow vehicles to be considered U.S.-made when purchased by the U.S. government, even if they have significant non-American-made components. Biden said he would close loopholes that allow parts like engines, steel, and glass to be manufactured abroad for vehicles considered U.S.-made.
Good luck with that, Bubba.
And right behind that, I put this story. Ford Motor Company said Thursday it will build the new Mustang Mach-E electric crossover at a joint venture with Chang'an Motor Company, with sales in China beginning later this year.
Hunter's invested in them. Sorry.
Hunter Biden. Ford began building the Mustang Mach-E in Mexico last year with the first production limit of 50,000 units. And you hear that, Joe? You might want to talk to Henry.
And they're going to sell a special Starbucks version. It's going to be that light brown color. Call it the Mocha Mach-E Auto.
Oh, God.
And they need to make the Beast all electric.
The Beast all electric.
Yeah, you know, the big presidential limo. They need to make that electric if he's going to really hold to it.
Yeah, there's some discussion on that.
Well, considering
who's discussing it?
Considering
different journalists trying to figure out, is that really possible because of the weight of it and
Oh, yeah, it's possible, but it's only going to get 5 miles before they have to recharge it again. Yeah, either that or tow behind it a big diesel generator.
Talk about anxiety.
There you go. General Motors plans to stop selling gasoline-powered vehicles by 2035 as it works toward a goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2040. Will I be alive? No. Well, GM's commitment to carbon neutrality follows promises from other automakers, including Ford, Volvo, and Nissan. GM's goal is a decade ahead of the targets Ford and Nissan have set, but in line with Volvo's. Nobody really knows. Because, the one thing that's missing in this story is
batteries that last a long time.
Well, that and the fact that we don't know. People we do know aren't into electric cars today. Maybe that's going to change.
And you have to listen to what they're saying. They're going to be carbon neutral. That doesn't mean they're going to be totally green. It just means they're going to be balancing.
General Motors says they are going to be fully electric by 35, which means no gas, no diesel.
No oil.
Good luck with that.
Good luck.
Yep. Okay.
All right, that's it for this hour of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Hour number 3 starts in just a little bit.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you with the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@nwheeltime.com.